Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, I want to share with you a reading, an overview reading for the year ahead for 2020. And so, this is something I've done before, and it's proven very accurate on a personal level. But this is going to be for basically the world at large and all of us within it. And as we see here, the sacral chakra, that is January. So, January, with the month that we're in right now, it's going to be all about creativity. It's going to be all about finding our passions. And, again, this is going to reflect on the microcosm as well as the macrocosm.
And I think we're going to discover that we can do things that we love for a living. We can use our creativity to just be free.
Most definitely. In some ways, this is really also about asserting ourselves and not feeling guilty about asserting ourselves in a positive way, because we are all here as a unique expression of the divine, and that's the intention. We're not supposed to be uniform and each one of us, a carbon copy of the other. We're not supposed to necessarily fall in line. We're supposed to basically embrace who we truly are, and for that you have to go within and you have to know thyself. That's the first beginning. And unfortunately, so much of our society for so long has it's been all about falling in line. It's about labels. It's about, choosing what you're going to be out of a set series of choices instead of, discovering, using your creativity, following your true passion. And that's where we're breaking out of the mold now. We're breaking out of, well, the world in general is breaking out of everything that has kept us so stuck in this horrible rut where we just basically cycle back and forth all the time. And we can see it in our politics. We get Republican presidents, and then we get tired of them, and then we get Democratic presidents, and no change happens there in a positive direction. We go back to the Republicans, and it just plays out ad nauseum without true change. And so the time is ripe for true change, true creativity, true passion, and discovering who you really, really are and who you want to be and stoking those flames.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's going to turn out to be a really beautiful thing, but not without a little bit of struggle to find that area that you want to be in.
And next to it, the dominant energy for February is emotional withdrawal. Sometimes we do have to emotionally withdraw. And we might look at that in a negative sense, but it's not necessarily. Sometimes when we can pull ourselves out of being entangled in the inflamed passions of society in a negative sense. Look at what's going on right now with Iran. And obviously, many of us could get pulled right in. And if there is anything that happens, like a new 9/11 here on U.S. soil, a lot of us are going to be pulled straight in and demanding blood. It's key to be able to withdraw emotionally from a situation so that you could clearly contemplate it, clearly sort it out without being pulled into a negative drama spiral.
And I see this as coming off the heels of January into February, um, the dominant emotion there. You might want to emotionally withdraw because you're looking for your passion. You're trying to find who you are, what you want to do, who you're going to be, and that could also create emotional withdrawal.
And then we see the dominant energy for March is the throat chakra. So this is all about communication. Once we have addressed who we are and we know what we really, really want after going and emotionally withdrawing from the situations that we find ourselves in, so that we can make a good, reasonable judgment and a clear path, then it's all about basically speaking your truth, living your truth, and creating that world, that vibration, that frequency that you want to be in. And so don't be afraid to speak your truth. Go ahead and speak your truth. And, we get attacked for speaking our truth, especially when it goes against societal norms. but we have to do it. We have to stand fast. Right now, for instance, just to give you an idea, some of the things that for me I have to speak my truth on is, the political and religious situation, because if we don't change things, how could we ever expect there to be different outcomes? And, if we keep just going back and forth like a ping pong ball between the two same choices that always lead to nowhere, just this endless circle, then, we cannot expect anything new when we're just dwelling in the same.
And I have a suspicious feeling that we're going to see some leaders maybe actually stand up and speak some truth, as far as who knows, it could be disclosure, it could be a lot of things, but I really feel like there's going to be some sort of actual true action taken.
And in April, the dominant energy is going to be balance. And this is just so easy to see. It's a progression of things. And then we have to balance our energies with the rest of the world and with each other. Find some sort of harmony as we are changing the situation all around us.
Right. I think all of this is going to lead to all of us needing to find some kind of inner balance, because it looks like a lot of shaking up going on, moving into balance, and it'll be we're going to have to do it.
Yeah, this is going to be a very big year, as we have been talking about. And so going into May, solitude. And again, you see, that's the withdrawal. So we're trying to work through major, major things this year. Major, major energies, major stuck patterns. And again, this is societal as well as individual. It's the microcosm and the macrocosm, as above, so below, as within, so without. So after striving for that balance, we might have to go back within, as we are most undoubtedly going to face some opposition. And the opposition is the system, and the opposition doesn't want to give up its power. It doesn't want a globe of empowered individuals living in harmony and yet living and doing their own thing. It wants to keep us into these groups. It wants to keep us into these divisions, that we could be labeled as this, labeled as that. Yikes. Sorry, guys. And that's a big thing. They want to keep us labeled. And, you can't really label what is truly the human spirit. It's something that is a part of Source and is indescribably strong, beautiful, and full of potential.
And sweetie, that was so beautiful. I have nothing to add to that. That's just exactly how I feel, almost word for word, except for, on a bigger scale, I'm thinking there might be some places, people who decide to regroup and break off and become a little bit alone.
Yeah, and this again could be reflecting the bigger picture, as we know that this year can be one that is going to be very, very tumultuous on the world scale. And we see movement and choices and decisions. And so here we are looking into June. Big decisions. We all have big decisions to make now. Are we going to break free from the matrix? Are we going to do our own thing? Are we going to create a new society? As we see, society in general disintegrate around us in so many ways. Wars and rumors of wars, without a doubt, but there's always been that at the same time. And so often, it's done to basically scare us. So we have to make the choices to not live in fear, but we have to also, make wise choices for ourselves and our families and loved ones at the same time.
Yeah, and I don't know. Could this be where they start to consider the states breaking off from each other? I wonder.
Yeah, again, this is a global scale. And, there's a lot of people, as I've shared with you guys, I keep hearing more and more people heading to Costa Rica and South America, just feeling like it's time. Yeah, they're feeling so tired of the political situation in the U.S., tired of all the same old stuff that goes nowhere. So they want a new energy. They want a chance to break free from this, from the society. And I'm seeing tons of people I'm getting emails every day, more and more of them. Yeah, by the way, my brother went there and, or we're going, we're leaving the country, that type of thing. And then others digging their heels in, and some waiting for a major fight, perhaps to come to even U.S. soil. And so when we look the next month, going into July, we're looking at fulfillment of wishes. So again, we're seeing this pattern, and it's an ebb and flow. It's like the waves of the ocean. We have to kind of go within, and we have to, see what's clearly happened, and then we move forward. And if we move forward and do it with assuredness and knowing we can make these changes, we can actually have our wishes fulfilled and start to live the life we were meant to live.
And on a larger collective scale, this might mean, as we all collectively meditate on what we wish for, maybe this is going to come out to be a really good thing for the collective. Maybe we'll see some serious change.
And the next month we see passion ignited. So again, once we start to get into our groove, living our own life, it can be a blissful thing. As the fires in the heart are stoked, and you have that ecstatic feeling of heavenly bliss as you are really, really walking your path. And so this is what we are seeing in August.
Which is a really beautiful thing, to see some kind of decisions made and people be able to start doing what they truly, truly want to do on a much larger scale.
September is heartache and loss. And so, this is a month to be aware of, and it's a prominent month in the Jewish calendar. And it is a time when it feels that this could be where the global situation, as far as war and things like that, could come to a head. And we could be facing extreme difficulties come September. And again, we need to, as we take a peek ahead in October, stand your ground. So we can't get pulled in. We must be aware of what's going on, make our preparations in whatever way we can, and whether that means, bugging out to a certain place. And again, this could be earth change related too, because obviously there changes are going on, but it's also spiritually related. So, this is all about, again, are we going to be ourself, or are we going to get pulled into being, one of the mindless automatons that they want us to be, and just fitting that label, whatever that label is,
Mm-hmm.
conservative, liberal, Christian, Islamic, pagan, atheist, whatever it is. Or are we going to actually break out of a mold and stay ourselves, be true to ourselves, recognize we don't need any sort of labels?
We don't, and I notice that's directly across from balance. And I think part of standing your ground and balance are almost one and the same. And it'll be an important time for on a global scale, for each of us individually to stand our ground. It's going to create like a shock wave of sorts to get things to stabilize, I think.
And then in November, we see discontent and boredom. And, perhaps as the system bites back at us, as we try to get out
Mm-hmm.
of it, we could get frustrated. We could get very, very frustrated. And believe me, I have been there, with the channel, for instance, being able to do what I want to do and fulfill my mission. And then the censorship being so high that it makes me think about, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep spending so much time on this? We're not going to be able to afford to. But then, I'll feel reassured after going within again and just trust that everything is going to work out. And it will work out. So we have to, again, strengthen ourselves and work through it.
Yeah, I see that too. Like some of us are going to have to kind of work through our decisions, after we've decided to stand our ground. And ultimately it's going to be okay. And I do think it helps to do the card readings because it gives you some time to kind of shift your gears and prepare in advance.
And then we see for December intuition, back to going within, back to listening to the little voice, back to reconnecting to source and divinity and letting the higher realms guide us.
Always, ultimately, you need to go back to your heart and follow your heart and do what you know is right for you specifically.
So overall, I would say this is most definitely a roller coaster year. This is going to be a year of tremendous ups, tremendous downs. It's going to be a shocking year in many ways, and it's going to be an exciting year in many ways. The one thing this year is not going to be is it's not going to be tame. It's not going to be typical. The energies are dynamic, and we are changing rapidly, and the globe is changing rapidly. So look for amazing things this year, and look for a tremendous roller coaster ride of both positive and negative. And we have to ride the waves, and we have to
Mm.
be true to ourselves and to our loved ones and each other, and recognize that as we pull ourselves out of the muck and the mire, we're helping to pull the whole world out of the muck and the mire.
Absolutely. What you do for you is what you're doing on a much, much larger scale. So keep that in mind with the year moving forward. If you want things to be better, then be better to yourself, be good to yourself, love yourself, and it will radiate.
And so those watching this, especially those on the second channel, EEARTS, you guys are the spiritually mature people that have to be leaders,
Hmm.
because you are leaders, and it's time to lead. That's the thing. It's time for all of us to be a little bit more forceful, to not allow ourselves to be backed down, to speak for our truth, which is that we want positive change here on the planet, and we're not going to accept anything less. And we do that in our own way, each of us, but we do it united. So, as always, my friends, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for being part of the family. Thank you for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. And as always, God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste, guys.